Virtual Fabrication Seminar. BACA Systems is located here in Lake Orion, Michigan. We are a 30-year-old robotic automation company that is specifically focused on the stone fabrication market today, providing a solution for every fabricator. My name is Nick Wadenstor, and I'm here today to talk about going digital. There's still a lot of fabricators in the market today that are producing material manually through stick templates and manual bridge saws. And we see the market trend changing to digital fabrication, where you will increase your capacity, you will increase your your production time. I'm sorry about that, but I'll tell you what, why don't we begin with bringing in and introducing JT with Laser Products to talk about the first step of digital fabrication, which is the templating. So I'll introduce JT and let you talk about Laser Products.
I want to thank you for that introduction, Nick, and again, I want to thank BACA and Chuck for allowing us to be part of this seminar. Really appreciate it, being a part of it. My name is JT Hoffman. I'm going to reintroduce myself. I've been working with Laser Products for the last 12 years as the Midwest sales manager and the last few months as the national sales manager. A few facts about Laser Products. We were founded by Dan Lewis in 1994. We've been making laser measuring systems for the countertop industry, the flooring industry, the millwork industry, and the glass industry for the last 2 decades. We provided a quick presentation, a slideshow that we're going to do here shortly. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and shoot this L-shaped countertop and send the DXF file to the saw so that you guys can start seeing them get cut.
So, thank you. So let's start talking about some of the challenges with manual fabrication. I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but you know, we see a lot of that as we walk into shops every day. You know, that the customers are stick templating, right? And so it takes them a tremendous amount of time to stick template.
Correct. Yeah.
And then you have to transfer those templates back to the shop, right?
Yes.
And then you're sitting there and you're cutting, and you've got to manually cut, and then you've got to cut your sinks, and you've got to cut your faucets and do all of that, you know, manually rather than taking it digital, right?
Correct.
And so, you know, we see that that there's a ton of advantages, but the digital templating really starts the process for our fabricators today.
Yep.
And for a number of reasons, you guys really have taken the market share on digital templating.
Thank you.
And so we love working with you guys, and really want to give you an opportunity to show you, you know, how we take this file and bring it over to the saw. So I'll let you go ahead from there,
yeah.
And we'll come back in later to show you the saws.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Let's get started on the presentation. So again, going back 20 years ago, digital templating was considered such a wild idea to many. It wasn't accurate enough, it wasn't fast enough. You had to be computer savvy, you had to know AutoCAD. So less than probably 25% of the companies in the nation were actually using digital templating. Now, more than 50% of those companies are using digital templating, and as more of those companies continue to purchase CNC saws, CNC routers, it has become apparent that templating is the first part of that solution. So again, I'm going to go over some of the benefits to manual templating versus digital templating. They're not in any order, and I'm sure there's plenty more benefits, but Laser Products and I came up with a view for this presentation. So first one being increase in productivity. Again, going back to 10, 20 years ago, an average stick templater might be able to do somewhere between 1 to 3 stick templates a day. Now we're seeing an average of 4 to 6 digital templates a day, and an average 50, 60 square foot kitchen that could be templated by sticks that might take an hour and a half to 2 hours now can be templated with digital templating in 30 to 40 minutes. Emailing the file from the job site obviously reduces one's carbon foot on the world, but limits the amount of time that the customer would have to be without their countertop, and obviously increasing the time for fabrication processes. Downsizing vehicles. Again, I've seen motorcycles to fuel-efficient cars. Obviously, that's the bottom line on all companies. No more need for pickup trucks, vans, hauling large templates, coroplast, Luan strips. Reducing consumables. Obviously, when you go with digital templating, there's no more need for coroplast, there's no more need for Luan strips, there's no need for glue or staples. Once again, reducing your carbon foot on the world, but impacting the dollars at the end of the day. Eliminating and mistakes. Digital templating is very accurate. That is why there's no need for two people to touch the templates. One templater can do it all at digital on the computer. So what we have seen is an increase in templating time, increase in fabrication time, increase in installing time, and in the last 10 years, a decrease in costly mistakes that are done on site due to manual templates. Probably one of my favorites, and I think is probably the most beneficial to me, is being able to template scribe walls or complex shapes. Again, the fact that it's more accurate and it's easier to do is one benefit, but it's, guys, as simple as pointing the laser, and the more points it takes, the more descriptive it gets. If you wanted to scribe this back wall right here, it's just taking a lot of points on the back wall. If you wanted to scribe your regular arc, it's just taking more points on that arc. It's just as simple as that. Laser products and the LT 2D 3D is not just a digital templater. The software also allows the templater to create shop tickets, create CNC saw pages, estimate, take photos, all captured and inside one folder, easily attainable and able to email or upload to any management software out there in the countertop industry. And finally, also included in the LT software, you can download your DXF file, sync DXF files, so that a templater not only can download or put it into this actual DXF file, but also can actually show a customer that, hey, this is what your sync's going to look like, and he can verify on site that it's actually going to fit. So this is just a quick ROI. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen us at trade shows or have heard this before, but I want to stop right here and quickly tell you guys, if you're doing 5 or more kitchens a week, I'll repeat that again, 5 or more kitchens a week, digital templating can make your money back in 1 year, right? So if you look at the examples that I have down here, if you look at the guy who's doing an average of 10 kitchens a week, we use the number of $100 in savings. 10 kitchens a week, $100 is $1,000 a week in savings. 52 weeks is $52,000 a year. Usually this throws up a red flag to most people. Again, if you use 50 bucks, it's $26,000 a year. You still save money this year. Again, I want to say this because return on investment is a big thing if you're going to buy something, and digital templating has a return on investment in at least in 1 year. This is just kind of an overview of how the digital templating system works. The first picture is Aaron, our corporate trainer at our office. He's digitizing cabinets. He's digitizing walls like I discussed earlier. The second picture is him editing the drawing. That includes overhangs, radiuses, seams, dropping in sinks, adding in backsplashes. The third file is him going to the...
Apparently we're having some mic issues.
Oh,
just
appreciate it.
Give you this and
Absolutely.
just throw that in your clip on, and
Yep.
we'll keep on going. So sorry about that, but sometimes technical issues happen,
Oh, yeah.
and you know how we recover is
Oh, yeah.
key. We'll get it back up and running. But,
Can you guys hear me?
is that better for you guys?
Is it better? Okay.
Excellent.
So I'm not sure where you guys left, but I'll start with the first picture is Aaron, our corporate trainer at our office, digitizing the cabinets, digitizing the sinks. The second picture is Aaron actually editing the file in our software with adding the overhangs, adding the radiuses, adding the seams, adding the sinks, adding in backsplashes. The third picture is again in our program where he can take that file and create a CNC saw page. And finally, the fourth picture is the saw ready file going to the BACA. This is just kind of an overview of what the LT offers. Obviously, it offers the laser, the tripod, the computer. But I want to really hit on this is the benefits of our LT 2D, 3D versus other people. The number one thing that I think is selling the most right now is that we have the lowest 5-year cost of ownership in the countertop industry. 17.7, no one can match that. We're here in the United States. Obviously, I told you Romeoville, Illinois. We have a loaner package. We have a support package. We have on-site training, software updates free for the rest of your life. And guys, again, I just want to say this one more time that if you're interested, we have a participation price. I would love for you guys to give me a call. My cell phone number is 331-444-9178. Office number is 630-679-1300. Anyone who is participating in this event, looking at digital templating, please give us a call. Let us know that you were at the BACA seminar and we can talk about pricing. So again, I want to say thank you to Chuck and the BACA team, Nick, for allowing me to be a part of this seminar. We're going to go ahead and take apart, shoot this laser, shoot this L-shaped countertop, get it DXF ready, and send it to the saws. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to auto fillet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture 2 points on every cabinet base, which is just tapping on the screen. And if you notice, when we're coming around this corner, the corners will be filleted already for you. When I come to the corner where I can't see, I've set up targets. We call these T-targets. Whatever the laser can't see, you would have to show it, and we talk about that. Now that I'm done digitizing the cabinets, I'm going to go ahead and select a color, which will be walls. And I'm going to scribe the wall. And like I said earlier in my conversation, the more points you take, the more descriptive it gets. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to go about every foot, but this could be every inch. We recommend anywhere from 8 to 16 inches, depends on backsplashes that are going to be up on the wall. We talk about on training going 3 inches from the corner, shooting the corner for drywall mud. And not sure if you can see it, but I taped on here one of our targets so it would represent a bow in the wall. And later on, we'll get to see the saws actually cut this bow. Now that I digitized the cabinets, now that I digitized the walls, I'm going to come back, change the color, shoot a cross for a sink center line. And the next step is to rotate. We're going to complete the drawing, which is just filleting the lines. And then the next step we're going to do is add our overhang, which typically for everybody is 1.5 inches. So we're going to click on the line, the direction we want the overhang to go, click on the line, direction we want the overhang to go, click on the line, direction we want the overhang to go. And then again, in our quick actions is what you set up to what you use more often. We're going to go ahead and add the radiuses. We'll do a 3-inch radius on the inside, 1-inch radiuses on the outside. We're going to fillet the corners. And last but sure, we're going to go ahead and drop in a sink. And we're going to set it back. Now, I already have an 1.5 inch overhang. We shot the cabinet face, so I know that that offset should be 2.5, which is typically 4 inches from the finished overhang. And now that we have a completed file, what we're going to do next is we're going to bring it to our CNC Saw page. So what we do is we go to the new page at the top. We create CNC Saw page. What we do is first select the page, go to page 1, which is what we're on. We remove the layers that we don't like, which is our cabinets at this point. Remove any drop-ins, select the system, which is BACA, and then hit create. So if you go back to page 1, you would notice that there's cabinets on the first page, and then the second page is a blank ready to go. So now that we're done, we're going to start cutting this file. Nick is going to come in and talk more.
Yeah, okay, so thank you. So what we did, right, is we took the measurements, which normally would be templates.
Correct.
Or some guys will sit there and tape measure and
Yep.
draw it out, where you could transpose numbers or
lay it out on the piece.
Forget a measurement,
Yep.
right? You run into challenges even with your tape measures. This captures all the information.
Correct.
And allows you to send it right over to the shop.
Correct.
Allows you to go to the next job. You
Yep.
don't have to worry about taking that template back. So you send it over, and this is where you have some options, right? So I have the DXF, I have the drawing, and I can take that and I can take that to our different cutting solutions. So you can send it directly to the saw, which a lot of people will do if they have the time to be able to send it to the saw. Obviously, you see it's really capable here on the screen to be able to draw, add your sinks, your radiuses, your faucets. So you can get yourself there. And then you'll get to a point in your capacity of your business where you'll want to actually, maybe have somebody receiving the files in the office that is maybe a CAD person to then put an extra set of eyes on it, clean up those files, nest the parts onto the slab and really take a lot of that upstream work off. And so this is where you have your options, right? So let's go from the DXF file and say, hey, I can take that file and I can move that file and I can add a photo station, right? And so I can have this photo station in my facility. I can bring my slabs in, and then I can put those slabs onto a green screen where I can take those photos. And so it's a very good solution. Allows you to control your lighting, allows you to take the photos upstream, and really helps your capacity. However, you know, the nice thing about the BACA saws on all of our cutting solutions is that we have cameras on all of our machines. So, you know, if you have the time to be able to do the vein matching on the saw, then you can do that as well. You don't need to take up the room in your shop if you have a tight facility with a photo station in your shop. You can do it right on the saw. So we do have the range of cutting products from a 5-axis saw with a blade and a router bit to our flagship product, which is the Sawjet, which is a blade and water jet. And then now new to our cutting lineup is the Robolution. And so I'll show you the Robolution, but is built on the Sawjet platform and will allow you to do 5-axis cutting with both the blade and the water jet, allowing you to miter complete slabs. And you know, will also be a single table system. You know, for a guy who wants the capability of the Sawjet, but isn't quite ready for a dual. And the really nice thing about the robot is I can then upgrade and add a dual table at any point in time, allowing me to double my capacity and mask the load and unload time. So let's take it from here. Let's take that DXF file and let's move that into the Sawjet. And I'll show you how you can pick up that file, take your photo, lay it out, and get started. So we have an operator control stand, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and my material is on the table, right? So I've set my material on the table. I'm going to take a picture, right? I can choose now between my left or right table, so I'll take a photo. And it's going to pop up here. Boom, there's my material. I'm going to go through and I'm going to file and I'm going to open my project. And so this would be your customer name or job number, depending on how you track it. I will open that, and that's going to open up my file. Now, one of the really nice things about the Sawjet is it allows you to program here at the station, but as we have it set up right now, you can program upstream that allows you to nest the pieces, put them in place, and auto prep those jobs, allowing you to just simply click auto prep, which I'm going to do, allowing it to determine, hey, listen, I've got one hole count, which is the sink, which is correct, a verification. And then it tells me where I'm going to saw cut and where I'm going to water jet cut. And so I like the way that looks. I can see my saw cuts great, my water jet cuts are great, and so I'm going to send that over to the left table, and then I'm going to open up, and it is successfully written, so I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to press run. So simple as that to get yourself going, to get yourself started cutting. So a lot of guys are really concerned on how hard it is to get that job going. It's really not that difficult. We're going to train you on they're going to train you on the laser, teach you how to digital template, and then we're going to train you on the saw and how to use this software to get it up and running and start cutting. So it will saw cut first, taking all the saw cuts around the table, getting it into shape, and then once it's all saw cut, then it will cut your sinks, your faucets, your radiuses with the water jet. It also helps you nest your pieces closer together. So as you saw on the screen, we can snap the lines together, having common line cutting, and not leaving the spaces between the cuts for your blade to over travel. So there's a significant material savings that happens when you go to automation as well. So not only are you saving on your labor and templating, you're saving on your labor downstream and cutting your sinks and faucets, you're also saving on your material as well. So, you know, I tell a lot of people all the time, you may be buying the machine today with the money that you're spending with your current business and may not even realize it. So, absolutely will help you go there. So this is Sawjet. I will also show you, you know, in the meantime, what we've done with the Boss. The Boss is our 5-axis saw, and this Boss has the blade and has the router bit. And that allows you to do the same thing, right? I can cut with my blade, and then I've got the router bit to cut my sinks and faucets. And so there's a big question. Well, if your 5-axis saw does it, why do I need to buy a Sawjet? And so that's a very good question that we receive all the time. But really what it comes down to is, it comes down to increased material savings. It comes down to being able to do things like electrical outlet cutouts, cabinet notches, you know, and bringing those pieces closer together for those material savings. Plus time. Time is huge. When you look at how long it takes to cut a sink like this, 10, 15 minutes to cut a sink like this, and you can cut it in a couple of minutes with your jet, you'll save your capacity of time. Finally, you'll get to a point where your business will start to grow and you'll start to cut more and more slabs, and you won't have the time to be able to wait for your sinks to cut. You will end up stop cutting your sinks here because you just got to get the slabs cut. And so you've reverted back to the manual cutting again with your sinks and faucets, and you'll realize that you need to save labor again to get those sinks and faucets cut downstream, and so that's when you want to add the jet. So we find that the 5-axis saw is a great step for a small shop to move from the manual cutting process to the digital process, and absolutely helps a ton of our customers in the United States, but ultimately those customers end up moving to the Sawjet. And then from there, you talk about the robot capability of buying a single table and then increasing to the dual table, right? Because once this slab is cut, I then have to remove the material, I then have to place new material on, program it out, get started again, and I've lost all of that time and capacity of cutting while the dual table just rotates to the next table and keeps going. So we cut this early because we didn't want you guys to wait so long. And then I'd like to show you another advantage of digitally cutting. So I've got my digital file. I'm going to digitally cut it. And now I can take that same digital file and I can use a product that's out there today called Speed Label. And Speed Label allows me to take a snippet of that DXF file. It allows me to put the piece onto the material, showing critical information for not only the fab team, but the install team, to show when it's due to be done, when it's due to be installed, how many parts you've got in that job, right? Mrs. Jones, and where it's going, and different edge details. And so you can quickly take these parts off, and they're not going to get lost in your fab department, or your installer's not going to forget to take a piece of backsplash with him. And even when you walk into a job that has multiple rooms that need to be installed, you'll know that this piece goes to the kitchen, and maybe that piece of backsplash goes to the master bath. So tremendously helps to be able to do that as well. So again, this is 5-axis saw with the blade and the bit, and we'll be doing more virtual fabrication seminars, talking to you individually about each machine in the long run as well. But the goal today is to teach you the advantages of really taking that manual template, turning it digitally, and bring it into your cutting process, right? Because when you're cutting stick templates, you have to lay that slab on the table. You've got to put the template down. You've got to mark the chalk lines. You've got to make all your cuts one direction. I got to move the table. I got to find that angle, make the next cut, move it again, make the next cut. It takes you a long time to take that square and just turn it into smaller squares, right? With a digital file, you set it up, you turn it on to cut, it cuts, and then you take it off and it's all shaped parts that are coming off. And you're moving these down and polishing sinks, and your radiuses are done, and all that grinder work that you had goes away, right? So dramatically saving your labor downstream. So absolutely a huge advantage to it. So while we take the time, while we watch the saw continue to cut, we're going to, you'll see right now, it's getting ready to start the water jet process. So all the blade is cut, now it's turning onto the jet, and it's gonna start cutting with the jet. So we'll turn to the machine real quick and just watch it cut for a minute. It's gonna pierce, allow it to pierce. And it's going to pierce around the machine, and then it'll turn to the jet and start jet cutting all the way around. And so at this point, of course, with live footage, something happens. We're going to pop open an alarm. It's going to tell me what the alarm is. Oh, I've got garnet that's stuck in here. I'm going to turn around, and I can just double click on this, and I'm going to click up a troubleshooting guide, and that troubleshooting guide is going to tell me how to fix it. So I can check my bulk copper and get it going. And then for the meantime, we'll bring Alan in here. Will help us get started on that. So while we're getting that set, he's going to check his garnet. Was that it? That was it? It's pretty easy. How about that? So quick resume. We're going to come back. He's going to fire back up, and we'll get rolling. Just so you know, we just did this 5 minutes ago, and it worked just fine. But it's live, so why not? So it's piercing, it's clogged. He'll get started again, and we'll take some Q&As. First question, can I upgrade my 5-axis saw to a second table? No. So really great question, and when we start talking about it, and we will absolutely go into, you know, having some conversations about about being able to, the differences between gantries and robots. One of the major advantages is the ability to upgrade with a robot. So you can't upgrade gantry style machines. You buy them as a single table, they're a single table. You then gotta go and you gotta buy a double table, right? And so we talk about total capital expenditure that you spend when you look at buying in your sawing process. And so being able to go from a manual saw to a 5-axis saw to a single table to a dual table, you start adding up what all that costs that you've spent in your cutting process, and you could go from a manual saw to a single table Sawjet and then just upgrade to your dual table Sawjet, and you've spent less money total in capital equipment than you would anywhere else. So we're back. It's cutting, and we'll get the Q&A. I think it's cutting the back wall right now in order to be able to go. So next question. The next question is, which machine saves the most material? Bar none, Sawjets save more material than 5-axis saws. But you can see how tight the stream is on the water jet, which means that there is no gap. So I can literally snap pieces together, cut them, move it in, and stop right on that cut line, being able to save the maximum amount of material possible. Now, when you talked about 5-axis saws, the 5-axis saw, a lot of times people will say, oh, well, vacuum lift will help you pick up a part and move it out of the way. Yes, that's true, but it doesn't pick up every size part. And so sometimes you're limited on how it can pick up a part and move it. So it does have its advantages, and you can see on this table right here, we did use the vacuum lift in order to be able to move a part out of the way to save material. But at the end of the day, even some of the guys, they're starting to do, the deep plunging, and the reality is no matter how deep of a plunge you go, you still can't clean that corner out, and you still got to get on the table and separate those parts together. The jet allows you to start, cycle, run, and when it's done, all of the parts are separated. So absolutely, Sawjets are the #1 way to save material. Okay. Next question. By the way, if you have a question, please feel free to ask. I've got a question coming in for JT. If you want to pop on here real quick. The question is, sometimes the measurements may be different from, you know, a tape measure to a laser. I know you've heard the question before. How do I answer that?
I would go with the laser, but again, the idea is that the laser is going to be more accurate than a tape measure in general. So the idea is that we'll double check all our measurements with the tape measure, but because there is some discrepancies with tape measures and heat variances, you will get a more accurate measurement with the laser.
Excellent. Great. What's some of the other questions you get? It's easier for me to go in with a tape measure and just measure it out and take it back to the shop.
My argument to that is always it's not accurate enough. What these machines do and what our machine does is it makes the install time so much more faster. What always happens is stick templates or even guys that just tape measure is they're not scribing to the walls. So no matter what, installers are always cutting drywalls, cutting pieces in the field. So you're always making more time for installers in the field. With digital templating and Sawjet, it makes the process so much faster, so much easier to use.
That's a great point, actually. So a lot of customers, after they get installed with Sawjets, they always say, hey Nick, you forgot to mention how quick my installs are gonna go. When you're going wall to wall and you're cutting a square with the manual bridge saw, you've got to go in there and you've got to fix that wall, cut scribe cuts in order for it to be able to fit between those two walls. When you laser shoot it and then you digitally cut it, those pieces fit easier. So a lot of people will say, hey, listen, even my installer's capacity is going up. We all know how hard labor is to find. The biggest complaint we've got is, hey, can you make a robot install? And I'll tell you for sure that by using a Sawjet or any other digital cutting equipment, your installers will move faster. They'll do less touch-up work in the field, less times putting it in, taking it out, trying to grind out to get it to fit. There's just so many different advantages on the install side that help. You also look way more professional. I mean, who wants to be out in the front of somebody's house with an A-frame trying to cut a piece to size, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we see a lot of people with stick templates and all that stuff losing a lot of the deals just because a guy comes in with a laser templater and they win the deal off that. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, you look way more professional doing it as well, right?
100%.
Yep. So, great. Okay. We got a question on the robot. Looking at the saw motor. It's a 26 horsepower saw motor with VFD. And again, really the conversation, we're moving digitally and trying to understand the advantages to your bottom line on the shop. We're going to do a ton more of these virtual fabrication seminars, and we will focus directly on the Robo Sawjet, directly on the Boss and the other machines, the Robolutions, our CNC routers, the EdgeSync Pro, the Edge XL. We'll make sure that we talk about all of these products just like we did the Miter X, and really focus in on the fine details of the machines and why fabricators all over the country are switching from gantry machines to robots. And get into the fine details of the machines themselves. But really, at the end of the day, moving digitally from the templating into the cutting process is going to help save your bottom line. It's going to help you with the labor that's hard to find right now. It's going to make you look more professional. It's going to make your guys more efficient, and your installers are going to go faster. It also dramatically decreases the labor downstream of cutting the sinks, faucets, radiuses, and then you turn around and you're saving material. And I'll tell you, alone, we've had guys that have bought machines off material savings alone. Can you template with your countertop in place?
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest advantages digital templating has to offer. We have targets that we discuss on our training, but obviously what you saw is I was measuring the cabinet bases, I was measuring the walls. So I would say majority of our customers, if not every one of them, has done a job where either it's new construction or remodel, and there's existing tops that are on there.
That's huge, right?
Absolutely.
It's huge for the customer who's sitting there that doesn't want to be without a kitchen between your templating time and your fabrication time, right?
100%, yep. They don't have to be without a top.
Yeah, that's big, right? That's big. So, I know most of my customers tell me that I've heard anywhere from, hey, I'm 5 days from template to install, which is a really great number, to up to 3 weeks without being able to have a kitchen countertop because you got to remove the tops and you got to turn around and that customer is without a sink. They're without a faucet. It's painful for them. And so when your competitor walks in who's digitally fabricating, who doesn't have to take off that top, it's a huge competitive advantage to you in the sale to your homeowners. So we're done. And as you can see, we'll come in here and show you. Again, it's cut. It's a great example of tension being in a slab, but you can see that the sink is already cut out for it. I've got the top cut out, and then all the way in that back wall over there, you can see that we intentionally put a, what would be a bad stud or a bow in the back wall to be able to actually see it. Can you see that, or do you want me to rinse the part off? You see that back there? By the way, another huge advantage of a robot, I can walk 3 sides around this machine, so I can get over there, I can peel parts off, I can get to the front of it or to the side of it, rather than having to climb up and over the machine, where you look and you have limited access to it. So, that radius is done, right? The radiuses are done. So, this is a fantastic, example of being able to save material and get the downstream fabrication in and out of the way. All right, let's get back to some questions. Do you template with countertops in place? Accuracy of the laser.
Within a 1/16 of an inch.
Accuracy is within a 1/16 of an inch.
200 feet within a 1/16 of an inch.
Is there calibration that needs to be done on these?
No calibration that needs to be done. All we ask that you do, if there is some mistake or something like that, give us a call. We'll work it out with you, but there is no calibration necessary for the digital templating system.
How many did you say you had?
6,000 units worldwide.
You have customers with multiple of them?
Oh, plenty of them.
Right. So, I think that the laser has proven itself over the years to be a fantastic measuring system, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we have 12 out of the last Fabricators of the Year. It's definitely done its shape in the countertop industry. It's evolved, obviously, from the LT55XL to the LT2D3D, but the LT2D3D has taken its shape in the countertop industry and has become the leader in this countertop industry.
Okay, so the question is, are there any updates coming to the laser to add a DXF file for Sawjets and CNCs since there's a difference in dimensions, like it being able to offset?
If you're asking for material thickness, we can do that already.
I think they're saying, and let me answer this because I think I know what the question really is. When you cut on a CNC saw or a CNC or a Sawjet, and you have CNC routers in your business as well, oftentimes you're going to oversize the part a little bit in order to be able to set them up on the routers to be able to true the part up to the exact dimension. So, and I don't know if you guys plan to do the layers on that.
That's a great question. As of right now, in our program, you can actually do that. I know several companies that actually add for routers to take off more material. If you're interested in that, please call us. I'm not sure who that is. I can show you that. We can show you that. But absolutely right now we do it. We just don't have a button click for that.
Awesome. Great idea, maybe. Yep. But, the key is really by the time you add a CNC router into your business, you have some sort of CAD/CAM program inside of your business that your CNC router operator is already going to be using and adjusting, and they're simple offsets in order to be able to do that. So it's really a nominal amount of time that it takes to do the offsets. Okay, does the Boss do miters? And is it available in a dual table? It is not available in a dual table. It does miters, yes, absolutely. And again, we're going to have a virtual fabrication seminar specifically designed to focus on the Boss, and then we'll do a separate one on the robot, and we'll be going through each machine individually where we talk about all the different specifications and the capabilities. If I don't answer any of your questions that are machine technical questions, first off, we have a Fly to Detroit program that if you're interested in purchasing machines or really getting educated on equipment, then you can absolutely fly to Detroit. You know, at our expense, we will spend the time to show you the machines, to talk to you about the details of that. And so we love the Fly to Detroit program. We've had a lot of customers take advantage of it and tell us that it's one of the best days that they've spent in the industry. We do online demos. COVID has changed the way that business is done today. And so you can absolutely just call us up and set up a go-to meeting, and we'll do an online demo to show you the software or go through with that. Are you guys doing that yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's, if I didn't discuss that earlier, we have made some customizable demos just because of COVID-19, like Nick said. And if you're interested, just let us know what maybe you're interested in wanting to see. We have everything from tub decks to fireplaces to windowsills to bat wings, anything that you need that you might want to see that can be digitally templated, we can do through TeamViewer or through GoToMeetings.
Awesome. Okay, so the other thing, you can contact there's a lot of machine technical questions, absolutely one we want to get into. You can contact your sales rep. You know, we've got a team of sales reps that are here to answer any technical questions that you have. And then obviously, you know, you can go onto our Facebook page and contact us or as well, you know, in order to reach out to us. There is maintenance on the robot question. Fantastic question. It's the reason a lot of people go to robots. Everybody loves the Sawjet process because of what it does for the business. And then they turn around and they realize that there's no maintenance on this motion control system for 5 years, 10,000 hours. It's dramatically different from what you're going to get out of a gantry style machine. Which leads into the next question: how many of them do we have in the field? We have over 400 of them out and installed today, and fabricators from anywhere that we've transitioned with you guys. Yep. From manual to digital that have never cut digitally before. Yep. To customers who have multiple Sawjets, multiple gantry Sawjets that have found that they love the process. And for all of the reasons that we'll explain in another virtual fabrication seminar, you'll find that the robot is one of the best cutting devices you can put in your shop today. So we will certainly get into those. CNC router in action. Again, I'm going to get into a virtual fabrication seminar where I promise we'll just talk about routers, and we'll just talk about the BACA Edge XL and the Sync Pro Plus. There's a question, I think the final question for you is, and it might be long-winded, but I'll let you roll with it. How do you compare to some of the other digital templating systems on the market?
Again, I'll go back to the 5-year cost of ownership. We're the lowest one on the market. We have the easiest program that I can take anybody who knows anything about templating or anything about fabrication or anything about installing and make them a templater. We have the on-site training available. We have software updates free for the rest of your life, loaner packages that are available for anybody. Again, what separates us apart is that we've been doing this for almost 20-something years, and no other, well, one other guy actually has probably been there, but again, our market share is about 80% right now in the world. That's why most guys go with the LT 2D 3D.
It's a huge statement. 80% of the world is truly saying something. Okay, so if I didn't answer all of your questions, again, you can reach out to a sales rep. We'll come to your shop. You can fly to Detroit, come see us, spend us some time. We've got online demos. Like us on Facebook. But we love to get in front of our customers and spend time with you guys, really understand how to make you guys more profitable in your business today. And so any questions, please reach out to us. And thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.